Okay, so hopefully you narrated or thought about that a little bit, and we had Hermia waking up and realizing that Lysander now loves Helena and not her because of the purple flower juice that was put into his eyes. "Are we all met?" came a plain, sturdy voice. "Pat, pat," came another. "And here's a marvelous convenient place for our rehearsal." The 6 good men and true, the 6 worthy workmen of Athens, clumped into the moonlight glade, paused and peered thoughtfully about them. "This green plot shall be our stage," decided Peter Kintz, a carpenter by trade. He was the most scholarly of the company and was to produce the play. The parts had been given out, and all was now to go forward exactly as it would be before the Duke. That is, if their play was chosen. "Peter Kintz!" Nick Bottom, the weaver, spoke up, and everybody paid attention. Among every company of men there is always one to be reckoned with, one that is good to have in your side, whose abilities mark him out as a mine of intellect and a tower of strength. Such a man was Bottom the weaver, large, big-faced, and with little eyes ringed round with red, as if to emphasize their importance. He was down for Pyramus in the play, which was the lover's part, and most important, for none but Bottom could have undertaken it. He might have played Thisbe the lady with equal success. He might have played the lion who frightened poor Thisbe away. He might have played any or all of the other parts, for he had a genius for each of them, as everyone agreed. But he had to play Pyramus, for none but Bottom could have undertaken it. Without Bottom, there could be no Pyramus, and without Pyramus, there could be no play. The whole enterprise was founded on Bottom, and without a Bottom, it would have fallen through. "Peter Kintz!" "What sayest thou, bully Bottom?" Bottom had a great deal to say, and all of it good sturdy sense. He had discovered that Pyramus in the play was to kill himself, which would distress the ladies in their audience to such an extent that the hoped-for pensions might well be in peril. Everyone nodded wisely and looked to Bottom for a solution. They were not disappointed. "Write me a prologue," said Bottom, "to say we will do no harm with our swords, and that Pyramus is not killed indeed. Tell them that I, Pyramus, am not Pyramus but Bottom the weaver. This will put them out of fear." He smiled, and everyone looked relieved. Truly was Bottom a man of infinite resource and a very present help in time of need. So the rehearsal went forward with tireless assistance from Bottom, who was never at a loss to improve the play. With all solemnity, the 6 good men and true transformed themselves into ardent lovers, a ravening lion, and a patient wall, for a wall was required, and there was none nearby. And Peter Kintz, with book in hand, sometimes admiring, sometimes critical, guided the progress of the play. But Peter Kintz was not the only auditor, or, for that matter, the only critic of the proceedings. "What hempen homespuns have we swaggering here, so near the cradle of the fairy queen?" Puck, lurking among the leaves, peered out at the worthy workman's solemn antics. He grinned crookedly, his eyes glittering like spots of dew. "I'll meet thee, Pyramus, at Ninny's tomb," announced Francis Flute, the bellows mender, who, though he had a beard coming and was bashful about it, played the Lady Thisbe. "Ninnis' tomb, man!" cried Peter Kintz crossly. "Why must you not speak that yet, that you answer to Pyramus?" Then, losing patience with Flute, who, though earnest, was slow of learning, accused him bitterly. "You speak all your part at once, cues and all." He shook his head and sighed. Come what would, to try him the play must go on. "Pyramus, enter," he called. "Your cue is past." Bottom, who had retired with a hawthorn brake, stepped forth with that mixture of modesty and expectation that marks the well-graced actor who knows that all eyes will be upon him, and the rest of the company ignored. His expectations were answered. All eyes were most certainly upon him, and to a bulging extent. His companions stared, glared, shook, trembled, turned white, turned gray, and most precipitately fled. Bottom, surprised, could make nothing of it. He shook his head. Peter Kintz returned briefly and timorously. He stared at Bottom, appalled. Bless thee, Bottom, bless thee, thou art translated." And then he retired again.
Translated?
Transformed. And then he retired again in melancholy terror. Bottom frowned and looked down upon himself to see what cause there was for dismay. None. These were his own stout arms, his own good stomach, his own sturdy legs that ended up, as might have been. Why don't you go get him? As might have been expected, in his own large, familiar boots. All that he could see was as it should have been, and proper to Bottom. It was only when he saw what he saw that he was not. From the neck down, he was Bottom the weaver. From the neck up, He was a monster.